But I think two things kind of pop up here. First is that if INEC, I mean, if you perhaps consistently hold this view, you may have some political parties who will say, wait a minute, is INEC trying to also take on our responsibility now as political parties? Because if we are the ones that provide the candidates, we are the ones who will submit the names of the candidates, we are the ones who should determine who our candidates should be in this case, and INEC cannot be asking for those minimum requirements on the one hand. And then on the other hand, there may be people, politicians or parties who may perceive INEC as saying, look, aren't you meddling in some of these affairs if you're asking that if people move from one party to the other, they lose their seats? You may come off as an interested party, a biased one at that, not an umpire in this case.
Well, that was the point I made initially, that what the chairman said did not amount to say to advocating that people lose their seats. What he said was to respect the position of the law. It is already the law as we speak today. The law that if you move from one party to the other without a faction in your party, you should lose your seat. And either the speaker or the Senate president or the House Speaker has the power to declare that to vacant. So if that is the position of the law today, INEC is not advocating anything new.
Just let me comment here. Perhaps maybe I should pose this question from Richard to you. And Richard sends in this, and he wants your comment on this particular one. He said, well, he's very sad about that comment from Professor Jega, and well, asking if don't you think that this has actually made this whole matter is sub judice. I'm trying to paraphrase what he's asked. So when the issues are sub judice, he should be careful before he becomes a tool of the political parties. So what's your take on that? Because he says the matter is in court, so the professor shouldn't have spoken up against this particular move.
Again, my take is to restate what the chairman said yesterday. I assume that question is alluding to a particular case, which I am not aware of. They have a particular interest in mind. The chairman was taking the position of the law as it is, applying to the 25 existing political parties, whichever they are. So he was not alluding to any particular case. And so I don't know what cases of leadership. It is already the position of the law that this is what should happen if there is a defection and there is no proof of infraction in the party. That is what the law says. That's like the INEC Chairman was not saying. It is what the law says. He was only saying, remember, this is what we have in our laws.
All right, let me ask you by painting this scenario. I mean, if we see a situation where a governor moves from one party to the other, because as it is, I think the law speaks about the National Assembly, kind of silent on the governors now. So if a governor moves from one party to the other, it means that what the law should ask, maybe from the comments of the chairman, is that you lose that seat, fresh elections is conducted in that area. First, who will declare that seat vacant, and will INEC be able to perhaps in such a short time conduct elections into a governorship position?
Good question. You see, the position of the law today is limited and restricted to the parliamentary positions. And that's what the chairman was talking about. There is no provision concerning executive positions, and that is not covered by what the chairman was saying yesterday. All he was saying was the law provides for parliamentary seats, and I mean it's the call of Nigeria. So what they want in the law is not the call of INEC. It is the call of the entire policy. So, but what we have in the law today is for parliamentary seats, and that is all the chairman was drawing attention to. It has nothing to do with executive positions.
Now, you talked about independent candidature, and you said that, you do fear a situation whereby ballot papers might be pages long. I'm just a little curious to as to what exactly obtains in other climes where this is allowed. What have you observed?
Yeah, again, see, that's where the issue of prescribing some minimum conditions for getting on ballot papers become relevant. And that is what the Commission has proposed to the National Assembly. In those crimes where you have independent candidates, they don't just appear on the ballot paper by declaring to the independent candidates. There are minimum criteria: the number of signatures, the constituents that they have impact, the membership or their followership, and stuff like that. All those things inform whether or not they get on the ballot paper. In the US, for instance, how many independent candidates get on the ballot paper? You have one. Do you know that there are hundreds of independent candidates who participate actually to emerge as the sole independent candidate? So there should be minimum conditions. The idea in the view of INEC is allow the space to be open. Let parties emerge freely, if you like. I'm taking it from you, if you like, even candidates, let them emerge freely. But the point is that let there be some criteria for getting on the ballot paper so that we don't have an unwieldy situation.
Do you think it's something that INEC will be willing to consider and possibly recommend?
Let's see how what has been recommended flies in the first place. Because INEC has recommended the issue of having some criteria for getting on the ballot paper. I think that we should look at how that goes to see whether, if we can get a handle on that, the other things can be accommodated.
All right, just drop this before you go. I mean, what's the latest development on the funds that INEC is seeking to conduct elections?
The funds, I didn't get that, please.
The budgetary allocation to INEC for the elections.
Okay, let me also clarify that. Thank you, Chamberlain, for bringing that up. I watched your program the other day, and I quite appreciated how you analyzed that. But in the public space, what some people have been saying is that the chairman was criticizing one party or the other about the funding. What happened on Monday was that the chairman pointed out how shortage of funds affects our operations. For instance, the CBR that we are doing, we just finished the continent voter registration in the set of first states. We are going into another step in July. And people have complained about our machines. And the chairman pointed out, he said, you remember that those machines, we bought them in 2011. Now, ordinarily, the laptop that you bought in 2011, if you are using the laptop as a prepaid, I can guarantee you that the functionality of that laptop is not the same thing as it was in 2011. That is where you store it well. How much more if you do not have storage facility for that laptop and you leave it outside, for instance? So we did not have adequate storage facility for the laptops. We stored them, but they are not in the best. They are not stored as best as they could be, and that is because every request that we made for storage in the budget since 2011 has been declined. So we were saying that it is better to frame the election as a cycle, not an event. Don't say because 2011 election is over. Don't attend to any other major request from the electoral management body until the next election. That does not help the system. And that is the kind of thing that you see manifesting. And so what we were saying was, let's fund the election as a cycle so that before you get to the next elections, many things have been taken care of. And so you will not need a huge amount in the election year like we find ourselves doing at the moment.
All right, Kayode, I think maybe what we can do, subsequently we'll get across to you so that we could shed some more light on this, but this is all the time we have, I'm afraid, on this one.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you too for speaking with us. Kayode Idowu is the Chief Press Secretary to the Chairman of INEC, Professor Atari Jaga. We'll be back in just a moment. Don't forget, it's the World Cup coming up next.
Industrial